Yo, what's up everybody? We are back with another reaction video. Thank you so much for stopping by today. The support truly means a lot. Today I will be reacting to another highly suggested video. And thank you so much to everyone that spammed my comment section and spammed that suggestion link down below in my description to bring me here today. Is the metric system actually better? Now over here in America, we were only taught about the Imperial system, sadly. So I have no clue. I have no clue at all what the metric system is. Honestly, I know that everybody tends to use the metric system over there in Europe. Over here in America, things are kind of different. We were only taught the Imperial system, and I feel like that was to hold us back a little bit. You know, I feel like that was to hold us back a little bit, honestly. And, yeah, nobody can change that opinion. Let's go ahead and jump into this video. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn all post notifications on so you don't miss out on another one of these reactions. Let's jump right into it, man. I can't believe we was never taught
This episode of Real Engineering is brought to you by Brilliant, a problem-solving website that teaches you to think like an engineer. The time has finally arrived. The comment section demanding imperial and metric units has gone on too long. There can only be one measurement system. The British imperial system, like everything British, is based on antiquated units of measurement, like measuring your country's importance by counting the number of countries you have invaded and pillaged. A measurement that made sense 100 years ago, but it's time to move on. Weirdly, the British have mostly moved on from this method of measurement, and it is instead Americans who insist on holding onto it. Well, America, Liberia, and Myanmar, a prestigious trio. Now, I can already hear the people who refuse to wear masks in the comments. There are two kinds of countries, those that use the metric system and those that landed on the moon. You know who led the design team for the Saturn V? This guy. Listen to that deep Alabama accent.
This weight dictates the amount of fuel and the numbers of motors.
An American through and through. Ignore this photo of him. Those are just some German friends he made while on gap year in Europe. Look at all his friends. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9 friends. A popular man. This Alabama native used metric. In fact, he despised British units. So much so that he designed a rocket during his gap year to fly to England to show them how great the metric system was. The Saturn V was designed, like nearly everything in NASA at the time, with a mixture of both metric and imperial units. Just read the mission reports for Apollo 11 for proof of this. It switches between inches and centimeters constantly. It's a mess. Anyone working with this report would have had to be hyper aware of what unit of measurement they were using. Most of the design and science work was done in metric, before being converted to imperial for the manufacturing and operational staff.
Right.
One of the most mind-boggling examples of this is the guidance computer. It was coded in metric. Meters and kilograms are the language of science. But to ensure the astronauts could intuitively understand what those calculations meant, the displays inside the lunar module had to be displayed in British imperial units. So, even back then, when computer power was extremely limited, the engineers had to waste precious computational time and power to conversion. And this isn't just a waste of computation power. Errors in conversion have led to an insane number of accidents through the years, some of the most notable being in NASA. In December 1998, the Mars Climate Orbiter took off from Cape Canaveral aboard its Delta II rocket. Over the course of its 9.5-month journey, the orbiter needed to complete trajectory correction maneuvers to bring it into an optimal orbit insertion altitude of 226 kilometers. However, as the time grew closer, calculations showed that the orbiter was entering Mars orbit in a far lower altitude, so low that it was likely going to strike the atmosphere and violently tear itself apart. This is exactly what happened. So, what went wrong? The orbiter was coded with metric units, so the thruster control unit was working with the metric unit for impulse, Newton seconds, but the controller was being supplied with pound force seconds, which differs by a conversion factor of 4.45. A massive discrepancy. A discrepancy that destroyed a $328 million project.
Oh my goodness.
In 1983, an Air Canada flight departing from Montreal ran out of fuel halfway to its destination in Edmonton. Why? The ground crew knew 22,500 kilograms of fuel was needed for the flight. They, however, needed to calculate how many
Yeah, like, how do we make that type of mistake?
liters were needed to be pumped. So, they used the density ratio to convert the weight measurement to a volume measurement, but they used the 1.77 density ratio, which was pounds per liter, instead of the correct ratio of 0.8 kilograms per liter, resulting in less than half the required fuel load being pumped aboard. Luckily, the pilot managed to glide the plane down to an abandoned airfield, but that little boo-boo of a conversion error could have resulted in a catastrophic loss of life. These are two cautionary tales with disastrous consequences, but it tells you nothing of the silent screams into the void every engineer in the world lets out when they are forced to work with both units.
Yup.
It's just an unnecessary pain in the ass.
I got a couple ex-engineers. Used to be engineers, but they're now in my electrical class training with us now. I guess engineering was too much, man. I know engineering gets a little difficult, but I got a couple engineers in my class, and they always complain and talk about how they had to use Imperial and metric both, and you had to know when to use it. The slightest mistake can mess up anything, so you have to be exact. You have to be aware when it comes to these calculations. I could see why they switched over to electrical. Nah, forget it, man. We don't want no parts of that. We want parts of the electrical.
We could all do without. This is the reason we need to choose one measurement system. Mixing units not only is tempting fate with conversion errors, but it costs an untold number of hours for scientists and engineers around the world banging their head against tables, when they could be using that time for something more productive.
Right.
I could end the video there, but we need to really hammer home why metric units are the superior units. So why is it better? Well, let's start with the fundamental unit of measurement. There are 7 base units of measurement, and with these 7, we can measure everything in the universe. Think of them like the 3 primary colors of light. With these 3 colors, we can create any color in the universe by mixing them in just the correct proportions. We can do the same with these fundamental units of measurement. They are time, length, mass, temperature, electric current, chemical amount, and luminous intensity. With these measures, we can describe our universe. Velocity is a combination of length and time, volume is length cubed, density is volume combined with mass. These measurements are the language.
Why do I only know the velocity equation? Because we learned it in physics in high school. The other 2 equations just now, I have never seen those a day in my life. Like, my mind went completely lost when I seen those. This is sad, guys.
Of the universe. So,
Sad,
let's see how the Imperial system handles a very simple one: length. An inch is a standard unit of measurement for length in the Imperial system. Let's imagine a scenario. You are designing a railing for a 1-mile-long bridge. You, as a skilled and knowledgeable engineer, know that 2 half-inch bolts are more than enough to secure the railing down. The posts of the railing are 6 feet apart. Alright, how many inches are there in a foot? 12? So that's 72 inches. Every 72 inches we need 2 bolts. Our bridge is 1 mile long. How many feet is that? I don't know off the top of my head, and a quick Google search tells me it's 5,280 feet. What's 12 inches by 5,080? That's 63,360 inches. Divide that by 72, that's 880. So we need to order 1,760 half-inch bolts. That felt cumbersome. Why do I need to remember all these numbers? Because Imperial is a convoluted mess of measurement units invented by people who married their cousins. That's why. Now, let's see how much easier that is in metric. How many millimeters are there in a meter? It's in the name. Milli, 1,000. Now, how many meters are there in a kilometer? Once again, it's in the damn name, kilo, 1,000. Given a measurement in kilometers but want meters, just shift the decimal place over 3 places. No calculation needed, there is no room for error, it's a simply better system. Even within Imperial, you have to constantly convert your units. ounces to pounds, pounds to imperial tons, which for some reason differs from a metric ton by 1.6%. Again, in metric, there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram and 1,000 kilograms in a ton. In imperial, there are 16 ounces in a pound and 2,240 pounds in an imperial ton. Why? You aren't even following the same conversion conventions as your other units. This is insanely cumbersome. The chances of conversion errors even within your own damn system is high, never mind having to convert to metric. You know what's even more insane? The word for mass and weight in the imperial system is the same. Why? Because the pound was invented before we knew what gravity was. That's why. We just assumed mass and weight were the same thing, when they aren't. So, we have to specify in imperial whether we mean pound mass or pound force. I haven't been this confused since I watched Magic Mike. The most ridiculous thing about all of this, every single one of these imperial measurements are legally defined by the metric system. America is already using the metric system, and most of the population is oblivious to it. Freedom, America, guns, pew pew, hoorah! The foot is legally defined as 0.3048 meters. The pound is legally defined by 0.435 kilograms. Why? Because the metric system is run by the International Bureau of Weights and Measures, a neutral international organization whose sole mission is to create a global language of science, who America is a member of. And they have succeeded in an awe-inspiring way. In 2019, the final metric base unit, the kilogram, stopped being defined by human artifacts and is now, like all other metric units, defined by the laws of physics. In 2019...
Yeah, right. I feel like the closest I would have gotten to the metric system was in physics class. Math class did not teach this at all. At all. College definitely doesn't teach this. I went there for a year and a half. They don't teach nothing. No, waste of money. Physics class. And that was my freshman year of high school. And we didn't even learn every equation. We only learned velocity.
It ceased being defined by this hunk of metal and began being defined by Planck's constant, which is defined as 6.626 by 10 to the minus 34 kilogram meter squared per second. Of course, to use this as a definition, we need ways to define the meter and second. The meter is defined as the length of the path travelled by light in a vacuum in 1 divided by 299,792,458 of a second. Okay, so how do we define a second? A second is defined by the hyperfine transition frequency, which is the frequency of radiation which will cause an electron to jump from two closely spaced low energy states in a cesium-133 atom. Each of the base units are defined like this, using the unchanging language of the universe as its yardstick, or should I say, meter stick. It's a beautiful and inspiring language that transcends the realm of humans, and for that reason alone, you should strive to use the metric system.
I feel like if America were to switch over to the metric system right now, it'd be a little too late. Honestly, it'd be a little too late, man. I mean, the younger generation, it's never too late. The younger generation could learn this. Most definitely. But the older generation, we're cooked. We gotta go learn about the metric system on our own now. Which might be a little easier than school, because school, they tend to teach things in a little confusing way. It really depends on the teacher or the professor you have, and I don't like that, you know? But overall, man, it's on the government. They are in charge of these things. Let's make a change. Let's teach the kids something new, man. Teach the kids something new. Better than how y'all taught us, for real. Because we adults now, and we lost, and we are clueless. I'm sitting here right now watching a YouTube video on the metric system. On a metric system. And I'm getting ready. I'm in school right now for electrical, and we don't do any measurements related to a metric system at all. You would think that we need to, right? Like, it really leads me to wonder why we are not learning the metric system, or at least using the metric system throughout electrical school. It's because we wasn't even taught that throughout our younger years. I don't even think my instructors was taught this.
Understanding the language of the universe is a superpower, and there is no better place to become fluent in that language than Brilliant. Did you know that you can measure literally anything? You can even measure what you don't know, which is something I learned through Brilliant's brand new course, Knowledge and Uncertainty. You intuitively know that knowing the weather 30 days from now is more uncertain than the result of a roll of a dice, and a roll of the dice is more uncertain than a coin flip. But why? We can't physically measure them with a ruler or scale. Being able to quantify uncertainty and know how to decrease it with information is an incredibly valuable skill, and this course will teach you everything you need to know. Or, if this course is not your flavor, you could learn math with the people that invented it with their other brand new course, Math History. This journey of problem solving unpacks the first algorithms for finding primes, the original ideas behind imaginary numbers, and how ancient patterns have made their way into modern mathematics. These are just two of many courses on Brilliant that will improve your ability to understand the world around you. If you are naturally curious, want to build your problem-solving skills, or need to develop confidence in your analytical abilities...
So you're telling me that if we use the metric system out here in America, things would be more accurately built? And when I say things, I mean planes. You know, just any type of vehicle. Buildings, homes, carnival rides. It doesn't matter. If we use the metric system, would things be orchestrated a little better? Would we have less accidents? Less deaths? For example, like less plane accidents? I honestly feel like we do kind of use the metric system a little bit over here in America. We definitely wasn't taught it in school. But I feel like there are some people in America that were self-taught, or they learned it on their own, or maybe their family taught them and they ran off with it and they used the metric system. I know some people that use the metric system in America. It's just a matter of going out your way and learning it and understanding it, because that's not what we were taught throughout our years in school. So to have to go out and do some research just to learn this now is crazy, when this is something that we should have been learned. Like, I'm in electrical school right now, and we don't even use the metric system. Wouldn't you think that we need to use the metric system to have more accurate measurements? Right? Throughout my years of elementary school, middle school, high school, those are the most important years. It would make it so much easier if I knew this already. Now I'm in electrical school. I mean, we probably use the metric system. We probably are using the metric system. We just don't realize that we use the metric system. And that is what's so frustrating too. Because it's like, okay, so do we know how to use it, or do we not know how to use it? Were we taught it, or were we not taught it? Are we using it on a daily basis? Do we understand that we're using it, or do we not understand that we're using this? Or are we just not using it at all? Is it just straight up Imperial system? Because I feel like I've definitely used metric system a few times, especially when having to find exact calculations and measurements for when I'm trying to fill my pipe and everything. Yeah. But if somebody were to be like, yo, explain the metric system for me, or give me an example on a board or something, I can't. So I'm going to have to put my pride to the side for this video, man. Everybody, do not get on me in the comments. Give me a break. Give me a break. I will learn it. No. I will learn it. I have to learn it. I don't have a choice. Throughout the mix, this is first year. We got 3 more years of this, man. Apprenticeship 1 is easy, but once you get on to 2, 3, 4, when you on that job site, when you out there in the field, ain't nobody trying to hear that. I can't call up my boss and be like, hey, how's this measurement? Is this right, this and that? No, I need it to be exact. I don't want anything to be messed up. Now I got to take apart the project and rewire things and cut my pipe. And I don't have time for none of that, man. No. So I will learn this. I will take the time to learn this. he showed us a couple amazing websites towards the end that any of us could go check out. When I say us, I mean any of my fellow Americans watching this video right now who are not aware about the metric system either. I know I'm not the only one. Man. I'm going to take it into consideration and give those websites a try. Test them out, see what they're like. Might learn something. I need to learn something. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Are you familiar with the metric system and imperial system? Are you familiar with both or just one or the other? Part of me is telling me that our government won't use the metric system because Europe is using it. That's why we chose the imperial system. And that don't make any sense, I know, because your measurements come out more accurate with the metric system. I mean, my goodness, do they come out so much more accurate. And I think our politicians need to do a better job, stressing this issue. Better our education, man. I get it, man, if you want to keep the imperial system in the U.S. schools, but at least teach the metric system too. Give us a choice. Give us options. Give us the education we need and deserve. Especially since you're educating the next generations. You should want them to be as smart as possible, as educated as possible. So when they go off to college or to their trades, yeah, you're not crying like, oh my goodness, save me from this new generation. No, because they're educated. So let's not limit the education. These are our future lawyers, doctors, nurses, astronauts, construction workers, electricians, plumbers. It doesn't matter. Scientists. Yeah. It doesn't matter if they go off to college or trade school. You still need to learn. You still need to know how to do the imperial system or the metric system. You need to learn. I can confidently say that after this video, I will be better educated towards the metric system. Yeah. 1,000%. Because I won't stop. Oh. Y'all have no idea the pain I be going through. Y'all have no idea what I be going through after I finish these videos, man. And the type of research I be going through. It is currently 1:44 a.m. in the morning. I probably won't be leaving this basement till about 3 a.m. now. Yeah, I'm teaching my kids everything. I'm teaching them the metric system. I'm teaching them the American history. I'm teaching them the British history. They gonna learn it all. They gonna learn it all, and they will not be slow. So it's okay. I gotta take it right now. I just gotta take it all in. And just put my pride to the side and just learn. Learn for the best. Learn for the future. Learn for the better. I'm going to teach my little sister about these things because I know she's not getting taught this in school. And I'm going to ask her. I'm going to ask her too when she wakes up tomorrow. Are you learning about the metric system? She probably she don't know nothing about no imperial or metric system. She in the 5th grade, but still, I'm going to ask her, how did you learn how to measure? Inches, centimeters, how'd you learn how to measure? And watch what she tell me. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe.